Okay, so before we can put this tow bar on the vehicle, we've got a couple of things we need to do. First of all, if you look at the condition of the tow bar, it's rusty and the paint's fallen off it and everything. So first step is to tear off the old paint and the rust, prep it for paint, and then we're going to paint it black, gloss black, which will make it look good, look kind of newish, and it should suit the vehicle much better than this old rusty look. And you guys know me, I like to paint anyway, so that's what we're going to do. Then once we finish painting, you can see here with the actual pieces of metal that go into the chassis rail to bolt it in there, some of them have this wire in there, so you can feed it into the chassis rail in order for you to put the bolt up and you don't have to use long nose pliers and all that. So some of these are missing them, especially like this one over here. That will need one welded back on, so we're gonna have to weld some of those long sticks on first before we put it on. But tonight's job is we're going to tear it all down, take these invoice stickers off from the wreckers, and then get the grinder, flap disc on it, maybe even a wire wheel, and see how we can get all the rust off and everything, and then hopefully paint it tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. So it should be good, and we'll get straight into it. So it's the next day. Last night we went over this tow bar with the grinder and a flap disc, but today we're actually going to go over the areas that you can see when it will be on the vehicle with an orbital sander and some heavy duty 40 grit sandpaper, just to get rid of those grooves that the flap disc puts in it, They're only minor, but you'll probably be able to see them through some thin coats of paint. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of those with the 40 grit and then paint it, and we should be good to go and put it on the vehicle in a few days when it's dry. But for now, just going to go with the sander quickly, and then we should be good to go to paint. Let's get into it. Righto, so that sander just went over that pretty nicely, got most of those grinding marks out. There's a few in there, but it's only Towbar, and we're going to paint over it anyway, so hopefully the paint fills in a little bit and it'll be a nice gloss finish. So before we can put paint on it, we're going to go over the whole thing with some, what am I going to use? I'm going to use Metho and go over it, just get rid of all the dirt and grease that's on it from my hands and all the grinding. Then I'll probably put it on something and give it a spray with some spray paint. Righto, so just finished, degreasing and dedusting the Towbar with some Metho and a rag. So now we're going to paint it. Now I'm using gloss black Rust-Oleum. Always use Rust-Oleum, love it. And the good thing about this is it bonds to basically about anything, including plastics and all that, and it acts as a paint and primer all in one. So you can give it a few coats on anything and it will stick basically to anything. So it should be good. I've used this on a lot of products, used it on my rims and some other things on other vehicles. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it, hit it with a few coats of this. Now I'm doing the bottom side with the Towbar first. I'm going to let it dry overnight, and then we can do the top side tomorrow, and then the following day we should be able to bolt it up to the vehicle. But we've got to get some other things sorted, like those fittings that go on the chassis rail first. So I'll get to this and you guys watch. Right guys, so it's been a couple of days, as you can probably tell. Paint's all dried on this. It's nice and gloss black, looking pretty smick. But the problem we've got now is we need to put another one of these wires on this makeshift chassis bolt, because it somehow snapped off, came like that, so who knows. And also, a few of the bolts have been stripped off. So that's probably just been vibrating in the chassis rail before it came out. But yeah, it's easy enough to go get some bolts. So I need 4 more of these big bolts and then 2 of those smaller ones over there. And then we can fit up that Towbar, which should be pretty good. Okay, so I'm back. I've got some brand new bolts here, high tensile stuff. And I welded on this long piece of thing with a real dodgy tack there. Kind of reacted somehow with the metal. But yeah, it'll do the job. And I'm going to try and fit this tonight. Well, not all of it, just try and get those bolts started, and then I can do them up sooner or later. But yeah, that's what we're going to do now. I'll put up time lapse, I guess, and see how we go. Putting that on there in the dark. I've got this floodlight, so it should be alright, but you'll see, I guess. I've got to see where it actually bolts up, because I'm unsure at the moment, because the old one I had on was a lot different to this setup, so guess we'll find out, won't we? Straight to it. G'day guys, so that tow bar is finally finished. I finished that probably a couple of weeks ago and I actually forgot to film an outro for it. So here we are on the tow bar. As you can see here, it's bolted into the chassis right there. Looks pretty smick. I don't actually have the tow ball in at the moment, just because it hangs out probably about that far from the tow bar and it's kind of annoying. And here's the cat. G'day. So, yeah, as I said, that's what she looks like from the rear. Just got the trailer plug loose at the moment. Don't really know where to hang it. Just thinking about there, somewhere like that. Somewhere it's not going to get knocked off while we're forward driving. So, it should be pretty good like that. One thing I did notice with this tow bar is underneath it, yeah, has a little bit of a skid plate. Just so it can skid up if it does bottom out, which is probably going to happen, but I guess we'll see when we get there. And I'm glad we have this on now because we can fit a recovery point, so when I do get stuck we can get unstuck. So yeah, thanks again for watching this video. Sorry it's a bit late. Tow bar install done. Next week you'll see these big boy tyres go on, which will be cool as. And then yeah, so Kat says thanks, so thanks as well. So I'll see you guys in the next video about backtracking. Catch you later.